Suicide. You've either heard, read, or seen the word at one point in your life. Now add the word assisted before it. Pause for a moment and think about what that phrase is now. Assisted suicide is the result. Yes, that's correct, you're not wrong. That's exactly what I meant. Now, according to the Merriam-Webster Dictionary, the full definition of the word ethic is the discipline dealing with what is good and bad and with moral duty and obligation. Thus, who has the right to assist a human being take their life? This doesn't seem right, nor should it be legally right. With the development and advances in medicine and technology, it has given us the ability to save many more lives than we ever could in the past. Who is to say that a person assisting to take a life be seen as a normal action in our society? As human beings, we should not instill this obligation onto another person. Even worse, it shouldn't be part of their job description. Isn't our society made up of freedom and independence? Yet when it comes to assisting to end a life, it becomes a dependent situation. Now, isn't this a violation of society's definition of ethics and its use in our lives? We are the ones who speak for our laws and make our society function. Today we will discuss a proposition and policy in which the U.S. should make assisted suicide illegal.
I will be discussing the ill. Assisted suicide is when a patient has a terminal illness and wants the assistance of a physician to cause a medically induced suicide. According to M. Velasquez and C. Andre, authors of the article Assisted Suicide, A Right or Wrong on scu.edu, the patient then has two options. The medicine used to kill the patient includes a lethal dose of approximately 9 grams of segobarbital in the form of capsules or 10 grams of pentobarbital in the liquid form. Both of these drugs stunt activity in the brain and nervous system. However, many physicians refuse to do the procedure due to the oath they took to save lives, not end them. By allowing assisted suicide, physicians are acting hypocritically on their oath. Life is something that should be preserved, not something that should be taken away at the hands of a doctor.
Who is to blame for assisted suicide? Assisted suicide exists because it is a response to suffering. This response is inadequate because assisted suicide can be avoided. This policy can lead to the corruption of medical practice, risks vulnerable patients' lives, and contradicts the Hippocratic Oath. Currently, there are 5 states that allow assisted suicide and are encouraging other states to join this legalization. There is no current policy to bring awareness to the negative contributions that assisted suicide is affiliated with. There is no priority to bring realization of how this law can affect patients and future patients' lives. According to Dr. Aaron Kayardi, he states in a letter to the California State Legislature in 2015, it is a distress signal indicating that something in the patient's situation is not adequately being attended to. There may be many aspects to one's medical condition that may lead to wanting assisted suicide when not treated properly or acknowledged. There is also no priority in the present system to provide mental health care, but there should be to help prevent unnecessary suicide. With the current 5 states that legalize assisted suicide, this ill is growing nationwide and is leading to the devaluing of life. We no longer have hope to find a cure, but are now cutting people's lives short. Dr. Chiardi also refers to Oregon, the first state to legalize assisted suicide, and mentions how Oregon does not require physicians to refer for psychiatric consultation to disregard the most common mental disorders or other grounds that may contribute to a suicidal mentality. Many citizens of the U.S. do not seek or don't have access to mental health care services. Making assisted suicide legal would put many vulnerable patients at risk. The present system could make assisted suicide illegal nationwide, but chooses not to, encouraging patients to end their own lives with some medical assistance. The current laws that allow assisted suicide are, quote, to protect physicians and not patients, according to Dr. Chiardi. Also, in 2015, the article Always Care, Never Kill by Brian T. Anderson proclaims, quote, "I will keep the sick from harm and injustice. I will neither give a deadly drug to anybody who asks for it, nor will I make a suggestion to this effect. All new physicians are to swear upon this oath, but legalizing suicide would go against the oath and authorizing a doctor to kill purposely."
What are the alternatives to assisted suicide? The real alternatives to euthanasia and assisted suicide is to provide loving, competent care for the dying and disabled person. Instead of allowing the patient to receive the option of assisted suicide, we can satisfy the patient through other methods so that they all feel better about what lies ahead and no longer wish to die immediately. Stating the ideas of J. Joff, author of A New Proposal for Assisted Suicide, assisted suicide proposals are a result of a fear of future pain, isolation, and complete dependence. Instead of jumping to the conclusion that the patient has no other solution than to die, we provide them with proper care and support to bring them out of their fears. Job also makes the point that medical professionals have the ability to effectively treat many people from suffering intense pain using medication and other pain-relieving remedies. P.B. Linton and the Associate General Counsel for Litigation Americans United for Life, co-authors of Better Solutions Than Assisted Suicide, assert that, if needed, a patient can take out a living will to prevent doctors from unnaturally keeping them alive, for example, life support machines. The author of Physician-Assisted Suicide is No Solution at All, G. Runner, claims that we should remind the patient that, if they wish, they have the option to refuse treatment. This would bring in a more natural death, which is a big difference from bringing out death prematurely.
In conclusion, assisted suicide is morally wrong. We must always take all measures possible to preserve someone's life. In many cases, patients are not aware of their alternative options. Instead of letting someone choose to die, doctors and physicians should accumulate more options for terminally ill patients and help their patients to die a dignified death of natural causes. If assisted suicide is legal, the elderly and disabled family members will view themselves as burdens and choose death over extending their life. Assisted suicide should be illegal anywhere and everywhere in the United States.